Probably shouldn't have said that. Hey guys, what's up, and welcome to Dinner Rolls and Relationship Convo, episode 25, titled In My Feelings. Like Drake said, everyone, my name is Angie, and I am here with my lovely co-host,
Elder Nathan Rolle.
How are you?
I'm doing great.
That's good. So we decided that we were going to talk about communication because it's so key in the effectiveness of relationships. Obviously, you can't have a relationship if you don't communicate, but there's this thing where people don't really know how to communicate without it escalating into something more big. And so that's the topic today. Why can't we communicate? Why can't some people communicate without it being a situation, without it escalating, going next level, without it being an argument or something huge? And so my thoughts on it is simply self-control issues. A lot of people do not have self-control when it comes to the mouth. We want to be right. We want to have the last word. And I think that is what is wrong with our generation now, is to just trying to prove our point as opposed to focusing on solving the issue.
Right. And I think the key to what we're talking about here is effective communication. That's the key word, effective communication, because everybody communicates in some type of way.
Right. Yeah.
It's either a negative way, a positive way. We all communicate in some type of way. But we're talking about effective communication. How can you communicate in a way that's going to advance our relationship? That's going to solve the problems that we may be having.
Right.
That's going to bring a fix to the problems that we're having. That's where effective communication comes in.
And I think that's the problem that people tend to have is, okay, we're on the same team. Right. So there's no reason to argue other than ego taking control of that, you know?
Right.
It's the ego that messes things up. And I actually have a complimentary class next year coming out talking about how to use that ego for good, how we can use it as a positive in our relationship. But I feel like self-control plays a major role in why we can't have conversations that we can sit down and compromise and collaborate with each other. But I also feel like too, what plays a major role in this is somebody's past learned behavior. So I feel like when you are a child, how you grew up can impact how you communicate as an adult. Like if you saw your parents or your single mother or your single father arguing all the time, that's all you know to do. That's your way of communicating. And although it's not effective, we have to take that in consideration when we're dealing with somebody and when we're picking and choosing who we want to partner with in our life.
Right. And I know me personally, I tend to, my voice gets elevated. It's not that I'm trying to argue. It's not that I'm angry. If for some strange reason, it's always been like this, no matter who I was talking to, maybe my mother, maybe my father, whom I have the most respect for. But when I'm trying to prove a point, I tend to, my voice gets a little high. And you may think I'm being combative or angry, but that's just, I'm just naturally trying to prove a point. I'm not trying to over talk you. It's just how I naturally am. I've always been like that.
But you know what? You're right. You have always been that way. But for some people, I know for me, it was an issue trying to navigate through that, because it's like, wait a minute, tone. Because naturally, when somebody gets loud with you, your first instinct is to get loud back. Like, wait a minute, this is not how individuals talk. But then too, you have to understand who you're dealing with. If this person has always been this way, then you can't, I can't say 15 years in a relationship, I have an issue with this, or well, why are you this way? It's just a matter of shifting my mindset and shifting how I react to you getting loud. And that's what we have to do as individuals, shift. We can't control our partner. We can't control what they do. We can't control what they say, but we can control our reactions to the situation. We can control how we handle, what it is that they're saying and how they may be saying it.
Right. And we got to understand also that change It's not something that happens overnight.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I realized that was an issue. That you didn't like that, even though I didn't mean any harm by it. You still didn't like it. So it was something that I tried to change. But when you've been doing something for 15, 20 years, it's not going to change overnight.
Right.
But you have to daily work on it. You feel yourself getting to that level. You see your spouse, you see your partner getting irritated. Try right then to pull back the reins.
Yeah.
And if you slowly try to change something, in time it may change.
Right. And you know what? That's funny that you brought that up, because we have been in an intense fellowship at some points, and I have like literally walked away from the conversation and have taken a walk. And when you do that, if your communication is always escalating, sometimes you may find that you can understand this person's point of view better. And you know what? I can admit that I have taken walks and been like, oh shoot, I do understand what he's saying.
Right.
I might necessarily not agree with it, but in that time it's about understanding, not necessarily agreeing. When you can understand somebody, then you can come to a compromise with them. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like you can come to a middle ground with each other when you understand them. But if you're trying to just disagree with them, then you can't compromise in that. You have to listen to understand the person, communicate to understand this person. Right. And like I said, if you have somebody, and then also if you've been in a past relationship where it's been abusive or it's been loud and aggressive and things of that sort, that can change the way that you communicate. And you have to be able to identify, okay, I'm this way, and express that to your significant other so they know how to deal with the situation. They know how to treat it and treat you. Right. When conflict arises, when you get to that level of communication where you can't have a decent conversation.
And I think it's certain people with what they call it, type A personality.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got to understand that a type A personality person is probably not going to change.
Right.
If they were type A when you met them, they'll probably be type A to the day you carry them to the grave.
Yeah.
I think for some strange reason, the best fit is maybe a more passive person with a more aggressive person. I think of my mom and dad. My mom wasn't a type A personality, but my dad kind of is. Right. And it worked out well for them. Yeah. Because it really wasn't any arguing. Two type A people may fall in love with each other. Yeah. They may get together, but we got to understand both of us are type A. We got to know when to walk away. We got to know when to stop. Yeah. An argument that's especially over something stupid. Right. You know what I mean? A lot of two type A people, a lot of times they argue over things that are stupid. Yeah. We got to understand and compromise that one of us can be wrong. Right. When you are in communication with somebody, you cannot have the mindset that I'm always right. Right. Somebody else might see something that you can't see in a situation. Right. And you got to know that. My spouse might see something that I couldn't see. Just like, I think I preached that last week with Balaam and Balak. Mm-hmm. When he was riding, I'm going to say the donkey. When he was riding the donkey saw something that he couldn't see. And your spouse might see something that you can't see. Right. And that goes back to self-control. We're still a constant work in progress with that, and understanding that, we're a whole lot better, but it's always, I never want to say that we're in a place where we're 100% just firing on all cylinders in every area, because I feel like that would be cocky and untruthful to say that. We're constantly learning and changing the dynamics of how we communicate with each other, and I think that's what couples have to take into place. It may work for you for 5 years, right, and then something may happen to where you have to shift how you communicate with one another, how you deal with each other's attitudes in situations that may escalate. So never get too comfortable in saying, oh, we're good. You know what I'm saying? Because things can change for that, but it all goes back to self-control. And I also was thinking about men in general.
men typically have a harder time communicating more than women because you guys are taught to suppress your emotions, not to deal with your emotions. So if I'm constantly attacking you like, Nate, babe, you know, talk to me, it can present a problem of, first of all, that you don't want to communicate, and then two, that you may not know how to address it in a more soft tone for a woman. And so I think too, you know, women, we have to understand how to shift our mindset to love around this person the same way that he's loving around us. It's not walking on eggshells, but we're all being loved how we need to be loved. And that's the same thing that we have to do for this man. And I try to do my best. Am I perfect? No, but I try to do the best that I can for the relationship.
Right. And that passive person, that person that's not a type A personality, we're not saying now, I'm not saying that person has to be a doormat and just do everything the type A personality says. I mean, you still have a right to your opinion. You still have a right to express your opinion, but in a way that's conducive to progression.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want to set yourselves back and never get to the point where a simple argument can lead to like divorce or something. If you get to that point where a stupid argument will cause you to divorce, you probably didn't have a solid foundation to begin with.
Absolutely. And that's what I feel like too. If something small can tear up your home, it wasn't built in a good situation to begin with. Like, it should never be that easy to walk away unless you're dealing with immaturity, or unless you're dealing with things like, you know, something else is going on, or, you know, it should never be that easy to walk out of a relationship because of it. But you know what? Communication is one of those things where people end up divorced and not together, you know, because they don't know how to communicate. They don't have the tools to communicate, and they don't know how to get self out of the way and say, listen, the bigger picture is us. Common ground. The bigger picture, the outcome is us coming out on the other end as a unit together. That's the ultimate goal. So I'm not going to let something as small as, you know, we were talking about. So we streamed cable the other day, and we have this disagreement going on right now. Not anything serious, where he wants to keep YouTube TV, but I want to do, I think it's like Fubu TV or whatever. You know, so it's kind of, you know, where it's like, it's a tug of war, but you have to learn to pick and choose what you tug of war with. Some stuff is not serious enough to go the distance with. Right.
And I was just piggybacking off something you said. Learn from your spouse. Never get to the point where you feel like you can't learn anything, and that's not even just in relation. That's just in life in general.
Right.
Wake up every day feeling like, what can I do to become better than I was yesterday?
Right.
And most of what we'll learn from life is, one, our experiences, but we also learn in life from other people, whether it's reading a book somebody wrote, reading an article somebody wrote, or talking face to face with somebody. And if you feel like you cannot learn from somebody, or you're above somebody, you can't learn from them, you're hindering your own growth.
Right.
And you're stunning the growth of your relationship if you feel like you can't learn from your significant other.
And if you see your partner trying to change their communication, respect that, address it, appreciate it. You know, don't just let it fly by and say, oh, they should have been did it, or they should have, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you see them trying to actively change and go into a positive direction and communicating how you want to communicate, you know, I just got off a live talking about there are no difficult partners. There's just partners that don't do what we want them to do when we want them to do it. And that's not a them problem, that's an us problem. So if you see somebody changing, if you see somebody making the necessary corrections, show that appreciation to them, because appreciation is going to make them want to continue those good behaviors if they're being acknowledged for something, you know? So
in our walk as Christians, like I think I heard you say on your live earlier, we are all sinners.
Yes, absolutely.
But since we love the Lord so much and we know he loves us so much, we strive to do right. And God knows that we really can't be perfect because we were born in sin.
Right.
Paul said, when I do good, evil is present. But I think one of the hymns in our hymn book said, all the fitness he requires that you feel the need of him.
Yeah.
I get up every day trying to be like Christ. I know as a Christian, I try. That's my desire, to walk like Christ. I can't be Christ because Christ was God in the flesh. He was perfect. But I have a desire to walk like him. And if you see your spouse making the effort to change, let that be enough for you. Well, she must love me. I know my wife personally. If I say something, she may not like what I say at the time, but I'll start to see that she's making trying to make the changes to satisfy the issues that I'm having.
Right. And like I said, communication, like you just brought up a good point. Communication is not going to always be what we desire it to be. Right. It's not always going to be how we want the conversation to go. And I feel like it's unhealthy for me to sit here and for you to sit here and tell me everything that I desire to hear. Right. Or everything that you desire. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not healthy. That's not really a good relationship, because we're accountability partners.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? We're accountability partners and saying, you know what, Nate, man, you probably shouldn't have said that, or this is not working for me. I need a little bit more. Angie, you was wrong for that. You know what I'm saying? So it's, we have to stop taking offense to that, because our partner is our biggest, your partner should be your biggest cheerleader, your biggest support.
I think about my basketball coaches growing up. When we did something good, I mean, of course they might be on the bench clapping their hands, but their job is to correct us when we're wrong.
Right.
Their job is to show us how we need to be doing something.
Right.
Because they want to see us succeed.
Right.
Because they want to see us prosper. They want to see us excel. So if my spouse says something to me, I can't take it as negative. I can't take it as she's just trying to bash me. I have to take it as she wants us to succeed as a couple. She wants me to succeed as a person because she loves me.
Right.
Even the Lord, the Bible says, whom he loveth, he corrected.
Yeah. And I think a lot of relationships are failing because people are getting away from that. So many relationships nowadays, they're not partnerships.
Right.
They're just, we're together for either a benefit or an advantage to something. It's not, I really want to work with this person. I really want to grow with this person. I really want relationship goals with you. You know what I'm saying? So we have to, our mindset really has to start changing in order for us to see, some good fruit come off that relationship tree. We have to start shifting the mindset of, I'm with this person. This is my partner. We are teammates.
Right.
We're going to work together. We're not going to work against each other. And your communication, you know what I'm saying, it's not going to be pretty all the time.
Right.
But you have to remember what the outcome is and what the bigger picture is here.
Right. And I think I'll leave it with this. We need to make time to communicate.
Absolutely, yes.
Communication, like if you got to have weekly meetings or just drop everything. Because what's more important than your marriage? Not your job or any other thing you got going on in the world, hanging out with your friends. So if I really want to express myself or learn from her, or if I have an issue with her, then I need to sit down and we need to talk about this communication. And if I feel like I don't have time for it, I need to make time. Somebody said we make time for the things we love.
Right.
We make time for the things we want. I'll make time to go make some money. So why can't I make time to make my relationship prosper?
Right, exactly. We create the time for things that we want to do. I say that all the time. If I want to go to the nail salon and I don't have time, if I really want to go, I'm going to squeeze it in.
Right.
If I want to go, you squeeze what you want to squeeze in. There's no such thing as there's no time. People do what they want to do. So You know, you just have to like you said, you have to create time to communicate with one another. You have to create time to talk about the logistics of life, what's working in the relationship, what's not working in the relationship. And if you're not willing to do that, then you're not willing to be married. You're not willing to stay married, and you're not going to stay married with that with that attitude.
You gotta sow the good seeds of communication if you want to reap the good benefits of communication.
Yes, definitely. So, you know, just remember, you know, to control yourself. You know, if you feel like your situation, your communication is getting ready to escalate to another situation, don't let anybody tell you that it's not productive to walk away and table the conversation.
Right.
When you table a conversation, you can and you go away and you try to understand, you can gain clarity, so you can come back very educated and intellectual and make your case, make your points, or say, which I've been in a predicament, oh, I understand what you were saying, you know what, my bad, I apologize, I should have X, Y, and Z'd.
Right.
You know, so just understand that it's okay to table a conversation, and your significant other has to understand that the communication may not be resolved right then and there, but if they feel like it's going to, you know, escalate, then they have a right to say, I can't do this right now.
Right.
I can't do this right now because I care more about, you know, not making it into something big than to say what I really want to say right now.
Right.
So think about that, you know, when you're communicating with one another, and then also, like I said, take into considerations this person's past. What happened in their childhood, in their past relationships, to make them communicate the way that they communicate. Take all that into consideration.
Right. And also consider how many relationships the person has been in.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm new to this, if this is my first real relationship, I don't know anything about communicating.
Right.
I've done everything on my own my whole life. I don't know anything about telling you about the bills or this and that.
Right.
So if your significant other has not been in a position, maybe they grew up in a one-parent household where that one parent wasn't around. Maybe they didn't have siblings or a large family. They grew up around, so they don't really know about communication. Be patient with that person and be understanding.
Yes, patience is key, and that's the ticket to a successful relationship. Your level of patience, in communication. So, all right, guys, we're going to end the show with a quote. As you guys know, I always love to. Listen, before we end with a quote, make sure you follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Love Inspiry. That's at Love Inspiry. This is Dinner Rolls and Relationship Convo, which is a subsidiary under Love Inspiry LLC. So make sure you follow us there. If you're watching us on YouTube, hello to you.
Hey.
Make sure you leave a comment below and let us know your thoughts. What do you struggle with in communication? And check us out, because we'll have a class later on, complimentary class later on next year, and we're doing them once a month, where we'll be talking about these things more in depth and how to cope with these, and skills that you need to maintain and get to a better place in your relationship. So check us out at www.loveinspiry.com for services, free resources, anything you need over there. I'm willing to talk to you. Definitely have a friend in us over here at Love Inspiry LLC. So I'm trying to make sure I remember to tell you guys everything. If you're listening on the podcast, we will definitely post a clip to our social media, so you can definitely respond there, and we will be happy to talk to you. So we're going to end with a quote. Communication is what makes a team strong. You know, LeBron and AD, they didn't get to that championship last year without communication, without talking to each other, whether it's being supportive or encouraging or holding each other accountable. So you remember that in your relationship. All right, guys, we'll see you all in the next one.
All right, be safe. I'm glad to see you're acknowledging the Lakers' greatness.
Oh my gosh, I hated to do that.